internet. Oh, I think it's Team Robin! Third anniversary just did the review, and we just took down an alternate version of ourselves. Why is everybody not excited?
Robin, we got a call while you were doing your thing out there.
We get calls all the time. It's no big deal.
Mr. Robin, it was Miss Lightning Bliss. She was calling about your friend, Eliora.
If it's a problem, I'm gonna go down there right now. I've got the morpher. I am fine to go right now.
It's not that, Robin. How do we say... She's moving out of the rift.
With her boyfriend, Chalky. You met him at one drinking night.
Right, yeah. I met him. I met him that one drink with him, you know. I beat Dr. Wolf at DDR at that night. Okay, what's the next review?
Robin, are you okay? Don't you want to take a minute, call Ellie, and just take the night off? It's been a pretty long day for all of us.
Fine, I'm fine, guys.
The episode is called Spice Up Your Life.
Alright. My name is Robin0928, and welcome back to My Little Robin Reviewing His Magic. And today, I'm going to be taking a look at the good, the bad, and what I think overall in Spice Up Your Life.
Well, this episode was one that... No, I don't think anyone was demanding another Pinkie Pie and Rarity episode after the gift of Mod Pie, but here we are. And I like the dynamic a lot more in this episode than in Gift of Mod Pie. I felt like Rarity wasn't just placed in the episode for no reason, but this time around, she not only had to be there, but it really fit well with Pinkie's character. Rarity, I feel, is one of several characters in MLP that helps balance out another character, such as AJ or Fluttershy being able to balance out the more sporadic characters like Twilight or Pinkie Pie. This episode also has one of my favorite one-off antagonists in Anton Ego. Yes, I know she has a real name, but her character is basically Egon from Ratatouille. I liked her not only for her limited screen time in the episode, letting the audience get an actual build-up for her reveal, but she's also one of the few one-off antagonists who doesn't get redeemed at the end of the episode. Instead, she just says, "Yay! I'm out," and leaves. How cool is that? We get a one-off character who doesn't see the magic of friendship and decides to be a jerk. It might be a pessimistic thing to be glad that a character is a douche, but in all honesty, I was glad that somebody wasn't going to drink the friendship Kool-Aid and be realistic in one aspect. I also enjoyed the episode's presentation. I love it when MLP tries on a new style of music for its background score, and this episode does it again, invoking an Indian style for the score. The song in this episode was also pretty decent. I like the backing music, but the lyrics and visuals were nothing to write home about. The new side of Canterlot that we got to see was pretty amazing, with the highlight location being the Tasty Treat, which was so well designed and looked very visually intriguing. The same can be said for the new characters of Saffron and Cumin, the latter of which provided some of the best laughs in the entire episode, due to his lack of caring of what's going on and his deadpan attitude throughout the entire episode. The idea of a friendship quest not being just about friendship, but just solving a problem is also pretty interesting, as it opens up more story possibilities in the long run of the show, now that the writers aren't just limited to the two people being friendly to each other. Now that we've seen the tasty elements of this episode, let's see where this episode gets a little rancid. Yeah, I know I'm not good at food puns. I'm just gonna go on to what I dislike. Cue the really cool transition that we keep updating, and just do that. Let's start off by talking about subtext. Subtext can hurt an episode for an individual when there may be nothing really wrong that the writer did in this episode. And that's where this episode got a bit annoying for me the first few times I watched it. Now, most people would see this episode and its moral as a fun, lighthearted moral about not taking the word of a critic as law. In fact, I do believe that's what the moral is going for, and that is a good moral. But if it pleases the internet, I'd like to nitpick this moral for all I can. Now, for the unaware, I am a critic. I may have done some anniversary on when I became a critic recently, and this episode is very critical of critics. Now, I don't think they were trying to say that us critics are opinionated pricks who don't know what's good for anybody, but the fact that they made Anton Ego so unlikable to literally anyone makes me wince a little bit. I know I said I liked her lack of reformation, but the fact was, for both scenes, she didn't give anything a chance and just came off as a freaking yay. Language. I'm sorry, but if you had her literally do anything such as try the food and not like it due to her taste, it would have improved the moral so much. By her not doing anything, it makes her seem less like a critic and more like a spoiled brat. Her doing something and having different tastes to everyone around her would have made the moral about not letting a critic control your life better. As it stands, her criticism comes from not even trying the food. That's like if I got on this show and said an episode was horrible before even getting to the intro. It's not good enough to base criticism on. I also have a problem with who learns the lesson in this this episode, Rarity. Given that Canterlot Boutique basically had the same moral back in season 5, it feels like the writers made Rarity into a hypocrite for this episode, telling Saffron that he needed his restaurant to be like every other one to succeed. It reinforces the poor writing we saw for Rarity from Applejack's Day Off, and it makes her seem less like a believable business pony and more like a
Yay!
For gosh sake, watch your language.
Other than my comments with the moral and its possible subtext, I didn't have much to talk about in terms of presentation or story this time around. It was a decent episode. This episode was a lot better upon rewatching it. The first time I saw it, I was near livid at the presentation of the moral, and was ready to write a scathing review on it. But upon further reflection and review, this episode falls into better graces with me. I don't feel like it's one of the show's best episodes, but it's certainly not terrible. The presentation and music in this episode were fresh and fun, and I did like the concept and how the story was paced. However, I felt the moral was learned by the wrong pony, and there are issues I had with the moral when I first watched the episode. But at the end of the day, I've seen both worse and better. My name is Robin0928, and I will see you guys next time when Season 6 of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic returns.
And cut.
Robin, are you okay?
Yeah, you're usually happy after a review. Do you want me to get some orange soda or something?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm gonna go out for a drink. I'll be back at some point.